Hi, I'm Andrew Gothelf with the AppExchange marketing team. Welcome to App Talks. App Talks is a series of conversations with Salesforce customers about how business apps from the AppExchange help improve business outcomes. Today we're in Melville, New York, on the campus of Canon to learn how Canon Information and Imaging Solutions is using Fujitsu's GLOVIA OM to completely transform the way it runs its business. I sat down with Dennis Amorosano, Senior Vice President and General Manager of CIIS, to learn more. Dennis, welcome to App Talks. Thanks for having me here on your campus.
Oh, great. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So to start, everyone has heard of Canon, but could you give us a sense of what Canon Information and Imaging Solutions is, as well as your role within that part of the business?
Sure. So I'm the Senior Vice President and General Manager within Canon Information and Imaging Solutions, and this is a services and solution delivery company that Canon established back in 2011. One of the reasons we established this company was we saw some major changes happening in our business-to-business marketplace, and certainly a greater proclivity on the part of customers to incorporate software and professional services in combination with our traditional hardware technology. And building a separate company allowed us to more effectively deliver that on behalf of our clients, while at the same time ultimately building out what has become one of the larger software R&D organizations inside Canon on a global basis.
One of the important parts of this story is your channel partners. So before we go down the road, can you give us a sense of what that relationship is like?
Yeah, sure. So, of course, CIIS itself has a number of channel partners, which you would typically term as systems integrators. However, if you look at Canon's traditional business-to-business organization, this is an organization that has primarily sold our hardware technology through channel partners on a historic basis. We have several hundred channel partners throughout the United States. Who are actively involved in selling and supporting Canon-branded office equipment technology in the market, as well, of course, now as software, and delivering the appropriate services to help customers integrate those technologies into their working environments.
We're here to talk about Fujitsu GLOVIA OM. I think before we start talking about that solution, it's important to go back and talk about how things were before you were using that technology. So can you give us a sense of what your technology stack looked like, as well as some of the limitations of it?
So Canon, of course, is, as I think most people are aware, we've been a primary supplier of office technology hardware really almost since Canon's founding almost 80 years ago. Of course, that still remains a major business for Canon. You know, if we go back in time, maybe 15 or so years ago, we looked at what was happening in the marketplace, and we ultimately made the business decision that we were going to start diversifying our business by incorporating software and services delivery activities in connection with that software as part of our product portfolio. I had the good fortune of actually building and running that business within our business-to-business group, many years ago when we ultimately put that in place. While that was really exciting, one of the challenges, frankly, that we had in terms of building that business is that we had a traditional ERP system that was really built to sell physical things. And so if you wanted to ship a physical product, the system was really good at transacting that business and being able to manage inventory in our warehouses and the like. But of course, software businesses by their nature, you're typically dealing with an intangible, and you typically don't want to have to inventory software in the warehouse for obvious reasons, in many cases based upon the fact that you're constantly making updates and enhancements to software. So of course, if you were inventorying product, that product would become obsolete quite quickly. One of the major challenges, of course, we had was, well, how are we going to transact our software business using the legacy system that we had in place? And frankly speaking, this wasn't a major problem for us in the early days of our software business development, but of course, as the market continued to change and as the business models around software continued to evolve, it started to become a significant challenge, and one that made it very difficult for us actually to drive the kind of business models and channel and customer interactions from a transactional perspective that we were looking for. We ultimately reached a point where we knew we were going to need to make a change in terms of the transactional systems we had in place, which ultimately led us to working with Fujitsu and taking advantage of their GLOVIA order management technology.
The technology was impacting you from sort of a running your business standpoint.
Sure.
What about the channel partners? How are they impacted?
Yeah, no different really for the channel partners. The channel partners had the same kind of challenges that we at Canon faced. The systems that they themselves use to run their businesses, although on a smaller scale, of course, than Canon's, they also were very much built to deal with physical product going into a warehouse and ultimately being shipped out to a customer based upon a customer order. As we at Canon introduced software, they also had the same challenges that we faced in terms of trying to figure out in some ways how to trick their systems to be able to handle what ultimately was an intangible. As we looked at implementing a new systems infrastructure then to support our software business and ultimately to support the business models that we wanted to create, we had in mind at the very early stages to ensure that that system that we implemented would be extensible to our channel partners, so they wouldn't necessarily have to make major investments in their own systems to deal with these changes, and they could piggyback on the investments that Canon itself would make in terms of transacting this part of our business.
Let's talk about turning the tide on some of these challenges a little
Sure.
bit. What was it that made GLOVIA OM the right solution? Can you talk a little bit about Canon's relationship with Fujitsu at large?
Yeah, so of course Canon has had a very long-standing relationship with Fujitsu. Both organizations are Japanese-based companies headquartered in Japan, and we've had a very long relationship working with Fujitsu at a corporate level. And of course, that's extended to the work that we do here in the Americas. So Fujitsu, of course, continues to be a strong partner of Canon. They're a major supplier for us of IT support. Even within Canon Information and Imaging Solutions, we work very closely with Fujitsu and partner with them in terms of driving joint solutions to market. So it's very natural for us to then evaluate the technology that they bring to market in terms of the needs that we had. Not that we didn't look at other technologies in the market, because we certainly did. We felt it was important for us to do our due diligence. However, when we really looked at all the details associated with the business needs we had, where we wanted to go on a long-term basis, and the relationships that Canon itself had with potential providers in the marketplace, we ultimately felt that the GLOVIA OM technology was the right fit. It happens to be the framework and the technology platform we use to run our business in CIIS as well. Given the relationship we had with Fujitsu, it made perfect sense for us to work with them in a collaborative way to ultimately implement this technology on behalf of our business-to-business unit within Canon U.S.A.
Were there certain features or functionalities that really stood out as you were evaluating GLOVIA OM?
The biggest ones are really around flexibility. So, from a business perspective, that was one of the things that was really lacking in terms of the traditional ERP system that we had in place within Canon. Again, it really was built to deal with physical product. And so it didn't give us the flexibility that we wanted as it related to, for example, business model design. Certainly, it didn't give us the flexibility in terms of how we might bundle technologies and products together to build attractive bundled offerings to our customers. It didn't give us an ability to extend that system to our channel partners. It didn't give us a license management capability that could ultimately be extended to our partners and to end customers. When we looked at all of those benefits, we felt that that system and the flexibility it would provide to us as a platform upon which we could ultimately build a system that was specific to our needs. It made perfect sense and ultimately became a perfect fit for us. I think our experience thus far, having now had the system in place for a couple of years within Canon, has been positive in that, again, it's really dramatically changed the way in which we can drive this part of our business and has given us flexibility from a line of business perspective that, frankly speaking, we would not have had we not made the transition to the system as we did a couple of years ago.